Let's get that on screen real quick this morning. The Punch newspaper, let's see the big story there. Says CBN plans shareholders summit, compiles new directors list. Union Polaris Keystone, CBN plans shareholders summit, compiles new directors lists. All right. Then, of course, there's a writer there. It says Apex Bank to discuss bank's future with stakeholders, and now chairman. EDs to be named soon. That's EDs there. It's talking about executive directors. All right, so you want to take a look at all of those stories for yourself this morning, especially one that has to do with the CBN in particular. And then what more do we have here? Let's see this one for you. It's just above the nameplate. It says tension in Kano. Supreme Court decides use of faith today. Incidentally, just a while ago, Queen and I had talked about how that is a very pivotal case, and we just can't wait to see how it turns out. But there are other headlines there on the Punch newspaper above the nameplate with a picture of former minister, immediate past minister, I should say, of humanitarian affairs and disaster management. EFCC, it says summons 20, humanitarian ministry, EFCC summons 20 directors, others. We always knew this was going to be expanded. All right, foremost industrialist Okoya clocks 84, advises FG on economy. Lagos NBA protesters storm police HQ over brutality against lawyers. That's on the Punch. All right. What's more, it says widows of soldiers killed in 1992 plane crash demand compensation. Page 18. All right. Netizens mourn as female banker accused self-pens suicide. Note that's our story is covered on pages 4 and 5 of today's issue of the Punch newspaper. TB Joshua made childless couples to exchange spouses. Ex-worker, that's on page 3. I mean, it never gets more controversial, by the way. Incidentally, Queen has the next paper. That's the New Telegraph. Queen will bring us the news, the New Telegraph on the show this morning.
Okay, and on the New Telegraph, I think the big story there is 8 governors, no fate today as Supreme Court delivers final verdict. And then we have FG to just underneath the paper, FG to probe Ajaokuta steel companies, 33 billion naira electricity bill. Top of it, we have Army debunks arrest, killing of Fulani in Kaduna forest. And then Tinubu meets Rivers governors in Aso Rock. We also have alleged $6 billion fraud. Courts admits ex-minister Agunloye to 50 million naira bail. Federal government, Kano dry ports will decongest Lagos. And then top of it, we have national carrier, federal government in talks with Boeing, orders for cheaper leases. Another story here is the South Supreme Court's judgment, Kanu disbands medical legal teams. And current hardship demands 60% court and government not travels, OB. And then PGF meeting silent on Akeredolu's death. That's for the Telegraph newspaper.
All right, let's see the next one here, which is the Daily Trust's quite loaded as well this morning. Okay, 3 headlines beneath the nameplate of the Daily Trust. Village head, son, 8 others killed in Katsina. Army denies allegation of poor feeding of troops. Bandits abduct 23 in FCT. Security beefed up as Kano Plateau, 6 other governors, no fate today. You can trust Global Television to keep you posted on those developments as they unfold. CPs, others call for calm. Winners, appellants, upbeats the issues at stake. Those are 2 riders associated with the big story there, right? Worry over 50% TSA deductions from aviation agencies. Edu Gates, don't spare anybody, Obi tells Tinubu. Man arrested for stealing 20 cartons of Quran Hadith in Kwara. ICJ hearing, South Africa wants Israel held accountable for genocide in Gaza. Well, that's an ongoing conversation. Queen will bring us a Vanguard newspaper next.
Okay, and on the Vanguard newspaper, just beneath, on top of the nameplate, no grief for anybody. I think that's a slogan for, for this year. No grief for anybody.
And it's very popular on the internet.
It's popular on the internet. Just before I take that, are you also subscribing to that?
Well, I don't know what the context is. If you're telling me, okay, this is a new year, or for whatever reason going forward, generally, be more resolute, be more resolved about your plans, your life, and whatever projections you have. That's great, but you know, people find it very easy, naturally so. I had to get this whole thing twisted and then beat it out of context by becoming obstinate, becoming rebellious and violent and all that. That's not what it means, and that's what the police are now cautioning to say, look, be careful about this. You have to be circumspect about it. People really don't need this to be serious about their lives. We just have to be responsible enough.
Yeah, I think the context actually of that no-agree is to, you know, be...
hold your ground.
Hold your ground. Hold your ground. Be firm, you know. Stand with whatever it is you're standing with, and, you know, just be. But I think I like that...
no grief for anybody.
The slogan, no grief for anybody. I'm adopting it, but in a more...
responsible, courteous,
yes,
polite
context,
manner.
Yes, polite manner. What I would be doing moving forward is no grief for anybody, including myself. So, you know, while the context out there for some people might be no grief for anybody, which is, you know, be strong, gra-gra, you know, how do you say gra-gra?
Be violent and all that.
You know, I am taking it to be that I will not grieve for myself. Some of those attitudes that have made me not to, you know, maybe achieve some of my set goals in the last year, I would not grieve for those attitudes, put forward a more responsible attitude, be more focused, diligent, and consistent. So that's what I am adopting. I think I kind of like it, but yeah, the context, we should be mindful as well. The context that we see online, you see people, especially in traffic now, because no grief for anybody, people are now having crashes. You know, you want to, this person cannot overtake you, no grief
riding
for anybody.
rough shots.
So we should be responsible,
by all means,
even as we adopt that. So at the top of the Vanguard newspaper, no grief for anybody, lawyers fault police, caution, as army adopts slogan to fight insurgencies. Oh, that's nice. And then Nigeria can't make progress without true federalism. Obiang Atta, this is coming from Obiang Atta. And then just underneath the nameplate, the big story there is APC governors, Peter Obi back Tinubu on probe. And then we have governors ask Nigerians to be patient, says Tinubu will take final decision after investigation. As APC professional supports President's move to send strong signals to government officials. Don't spare anybody, Peter Obi tells Tinubu. I think that's as regards the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs story. And then we have Governor Alia Bas, local government chairman, from leaving domains. This as regards the attacks. And then we have new bank CEOs will boost confidence, NECA, ASS, BIFI analyst. And then we have the story of the 32-year-old bank staff commits suicide over harsh economy. This is sad. This is really sad. And then we have Owe Lekemfa, the Israeli plan to deport Palestinians to Africa is an insane one. But so also was the program before it was put into practice. Interesting. And then lastly, we have, this is not the last, this is before the last, 2023 AFCON, another injury scare for Eagles as Umar misses training. That's in sports. And alleged 6 billion naira fraud, ex-minister Agunoye gets 50 million naira bail.
It's on that note we flip quickly, everyone, to this day newspaper. That will be our last before we take a break now, right, and bring you sports updates on the program this morning. This day newspaper above the name mast, $800 million trapped fund foreign airlines miffed with FG, over $61 million paid, say it's insignificant. It has a rider with it, threatening to review operations in Nigeria. Tinubu receives briefing on $10 billion investment in nation's steel sector. Interrogating Union Keystone Polaris bus dissolution. That was news review on today's This Day newspaper. Supreme Court delivers verdicts on Kano Plateau, Lagos for others today. Tight security in Kano amid fears of protests. Courts reserves judgments in Ogun. Respite as Apex Court upholds Enos victory. What are the riders? Let's see. Okay, we already brought you those riders. And then at the foot of the front page of today's issue of This Day newspaper, it reads, Obi, current economic reality demands 60% cuts in overall governance costs. And that's where we are taking a break, everyone, so we can get our first guests on the road on the show this morning. We'll be back in the middle of that to look at a few more papers, and then we'll bring you a second discussion on the program this morning. That will be right after Anthony Momodu has brought us an update on sports.